doing with these? Just holding them, or?
So when they speak, we're going to have the computer here, and then during Q&A, I guess this is the best spot for you to sit. Okay. You're not streaming.
Yeah, I am.
You are? So when they speak, we'll just set it up here, right? Okay, you need to move it up. Yeah. See how it's.
Would you tilt it forward a little, please?
Sit down is okay.
Oh, there's the delay though, so.
It's 30 seconds. So.
Yeah, if I tilt it, it's.
You know what? I'll have. Yeah, you know what? Kimmy can sit next to you and then watch it and then adjust it.
Okay, so now that's down.
Does that make sense? Yeah, and then you just adjust it like that.
Sure.
So, Kimberly, you'll work with Julia to see how the live feed looks because she can't see it on her computer.
Okay.
So you'll use your computer, you can use mine,
Okay.
and then just sit next to her to give her cues on how to adjust it.
Can I use yours?
Yeah.
Mine's not. I can't connect to this one.
Oh, right. Yeah, you just use mine. It should last. I think we have this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, whichever one you feel like using. 哦，你要去上课了？对哦，知道了哈。
还好，
你要去上课，谢谢，好，快点
Thanks, bye.
So you can
Put up there.
put up there, and I'll reserve these 2 seats for you two, so you can. All right, or do you want to sit here? Sit here.
I mean, if it's too close, it might not get everything in view.
Okay. Where's my computer? Let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, we can use that to watch.
It's much more mobile than.
That's right. Yeah, or you can even use this to watch. You can use this too.
Yeah.
Right. I think it will be easier if you sit here. That would.
Right now you can only see the.
Oh, I have a.
I think it'll be fine.
I'm just paranoid. Everyone's screwed up.
No, how are you gonna have the spare battery when it's running?
Because that's what it's meant to do.
Oh, okay.
I bought it in Beijing because
it here because that way you can transition more easily from to here. And then, okay. I'm just going to stand here. Wide chair. And then, so the three of us will sit here to man stuff. Standing can sit over there to take notes. And then everything else will.哦，对，他怎么这个？
快一点。
这样快一点。你怎么也过来？
对啊。
哦。
是这样啊。
还可以。哎，你 prospect 做了对不对？
对。都是。还有很多加油！
这 prospect 是长什么样子我都不知道。
经过这个月应该有比较有心得。
Actually, this is all on live feed, so whatever we say now, people can just hear it on YouTube. So this is on the big screen. Yeah.
Oh wait, it needs to be right there.
That's working. Testing.
Well, so is your iPad working?
It won't.
No.
It won't let me log in. It just
Okay.
says success when I haven't even typed in the password yet. So.
Okay, so you'll be in charge of this.
Unless
Wait,
there's,
you have to leave early? No, you don't. You don't
unless there's someone to ask on this floor, because UDA went and asked someone. That's where he got this. Is there a secretary or something?
This is the password.
No, I know, but he got this from somewhere. So I'm wondering if the person who
Oh,
gave him.
no, it's from my desk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this is just the standard password.
Oh, okay.
So see if the sound quality makes sense. If we have testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see how it sounds. There's going to be a lag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fair.
Okay.
Can you hear it pretty clearly?
It's pretty clear.
Pretty loudly, even when you were standing right there.
Oh,
But
okay.
it lags behind a couple of seconds.
Okay, good. All right. So you'll just sit here.
Okay.
Then, you'll get there or
You'll. You can sit here. That'll work. Okay. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to set my computer here,
Okay. I'll move.
and then you can move over there. My computer's battery life is very short.
I could also take this time to set up my.
Oh, but you can't log into the network, right? Or you, oh, okay, all right.
下意识的来。
Hi. Can I give you the camera to take photos? Hmm? You may want to choose a seat in the aisle. What time do you have to leave? Okay, so when you're done, so all of you figure out when you have to leave, you go with us. Why don't you sit over there?
On the left side?
Yeah. It's okay. You can leave there. Yeah. That's fine. Want some water?
如果不看到真的。
How are we doing? 52. Okay, we're gonna make it. We'll be okay with the battery. I was really worried for a while. I think it's stabilized. Okay. Are the speakers here? Amy seems to have disappeared. Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure she's got it under control. I just hope that we kind of start on time because otherwise, people are gonna be like tuning in and they'll be a little confused by the fact that there's nothing going. Well, it's not a black screen, but it's I feel like people might drop off if it doesn't occur too quickly because there's a problem with the feed. So. Papa brought them over. Yeah, so they're only here from they arrived last night, and they're not going to be here too long. So yeah, I have sympathy for them because they can share that. So coming here is much worse than going to Taiwan.
Yeah.
I feel like it's easier to go east than come west for whatever reason. I like come back to the US and sleep for 2 weeks. I go to Taiwan. I'm like okay within a day. So. Yeah, I think he went back after Harvard and got arrested. So I feel really bad about that. Oh, a couple of people don't have seats. Let me see if there's tables. Yeah, they're going to check next door, see if they can buy alcohol. Oh, I just thought I didn't see any just tables. You could probably use the one behind the podium, and no one's going to be sitting there. Yeah, no, that would move you. Sure. Yeah.
不好意思。
For those of us who are not working, just make sacrifices. Sorry. Hi, everyone. We'll be starting in a few minutes, so thank you.
Andy, you get some consent. Okay. All right. So just, is it?
Is that here?
Yeah, he's just gonna say.
Okay. All right. Soon as that.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Thank
So we're good? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
你做这边好。先这边好，然后待会要问答的时候我再想。原来你们而已。
下次可是。
Still do the work. Do work. See all your good emails. You can still on all. Yeah. So see what you're doing. That you know what. Yeah, you can
There was a chair, but.
Oh yeah, we took it away because we didn't think anyone was sitting out there.
Oh, okay. Anyway. All right. Good evening. Welcome to today's forum sponsored by the Organization for Asian Studies here at George Washington University. On behalf of OAS, my name is Amy Xia. I'm a graduate student here at UW. Apologize for our late start and for the crowded and stuffy conditions of this room, but this was the best room that we could get under a short time constraint. So please try to make yourself comfortable. I think there's one more seat over there. And if you want to stand here by the coat rack, there's also space here. So feel free to sort of make your way in. We're delighted to have a great panel today to talk to us about the ongoing democracy movement in Taiwan, which has entered its fourth week, essentially. I mean, the students have been occupying the legislative building in Taiwan for over 3 weeks. Tomorrow, they're scheduled to leave. And throughout these 3 weeks, we have seen amazing developments in Taiwan, from inspiring crowds, nearing half a million, taking to the streets to demonstrate peacefully. And we've also seen police brutality by the government when these students protested in front of the executive building. I will let our students' representatives speak for themselves, and then afterwards, after their presentation, we have 2 discussants from China who are currently in the US in exile from China. So without further ado, let me introduce our panelists. We have Yang, who's a graduate student of sociology at Tsinghua University, and he's been involved in many social movements in Taiwan and has been a key figure in the current sunflower movement. And Huang Yu-fen has been one of the spokespersons of the sunflower movement, and she's also a graduate student in sociology at Tsinghua University. They both arrived last night, and Yu-fen's feeling a little bit ill, so she's kind of lost her voice, so Wei Yang will probably do more of the talking. And then we have Dr. Yang Jianli, who is the president of Initiatives for China and a research fellow at Harvard University. He left China in 1989 after Tiananmen, and is a long-time democracy activist who's working to promote a constitutional democracy in China He's been in prison. He's led many grassroots efforts here in the USA, and he will give his view on the Sunflower Movement in Taiwan. We have one more speaker coming, Professor Xia Yeliang, who was an economist at Peiking University and was just fired last semester for his support of Charter 08 and for his writings on political reform in China. He's currently here as a fellow, well, currently in DC as a fellow at the Cato Institute. So I'll turn the floor over to our student speakers, and please, well, yeah, I apologize for the crowded conditions there. There's some more standing room here on the side, and we'll now hear from Wei Yang.
Here, if you can come up here, then you could just make sure that your face is entirely in view.
And we have this webcast live, which is why we have this computer set up in the spirit of all kinds of social media, the role of social media.
So,
and the legislative VM.
So as long as you can see your face,
okay,
then
but
it's...
it's not. So, okay. It's making me very nervous.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay.
But people are watching in the LY
Alright.
right now, so...
Okay. Greeting you all. First, I apologize for wearing so formal because I intend to be more casual, but I just come direct from the after press conference, so I have to be like this. Otherwise, I would like to be just like a 25 years old young people, not like this. Okay, and then to stress out, she wants me to stress out that she is severely ill, so she cannot talk today, and I will talk for her a little bit. Okay, first I apologize if my English is poor or not good. Please forgive me. Okay, there is a translator that when I have a trouble, he will translate for me. Okay, first this sunflower movement is start. You can see that from the news, it starts from on the 18th, March 18th. The hundreds of students occupy our Taiwan's legislative yuan, where the like Americans Congress. But the whole movement can be dated back to last year, 2013, and when the cross-strait service trade agreement was first signed between Taiwan and China. That was around June 20 or something. And by the time hearing the signing of this agreement, a lot of NGOs, students, and organizations, this is a very serious issue because this is a totally black box operation. If you understand what I'm saying, the black box operation means before the signing, there's very little communication between the government and the society, and the impacted industry were not consulted, or they cannot be involved in the during the negotiation. So people were angry that they cannot participate and that they cannot decide their own future. And the more controversial is the legislative branch, which like the Congress have no role in the monitoring or supervising the negotiation, the trade talk. So it's like the President Ma and his executive team wants to sign this trade agreement, and they just did what I want, and without a formal negotiation, deliberation, anything like that. And so it outraged Taiwanese people by the time, and so it caused a lot of social movements around that time. So the two parties, KMT and DPP, which are the most dominant party in Taiwan, reached an agreement that to view the agreement to view the service trade agreement item by item, and they have to hold certain number of public hearings before go to the legislative procedure. Okay, so last year July there was some public hearings held inside the legislative yuan, and hundreds of students were gathered in front of the legislative yuan. They demand to participate in the public hearing since this is such a big issue and impact everyone in Taiwan. So students and the protestants thought that we have the right to participate in the hearing, but we were shut and shut out of the door, and they won't let us participate. So people climb over the wall of the legislative yuan and sit down in the plaza in front of it, and that pushed the legislative yuan to promise that, okay, we will hold more public hearings and we won't go to the substantial review so quick. We will step by step, and we have to run all the procedures that have it need to be. Okay, so last year, June to September was the beginning of this movement. Students and NGOs start to do research on this issue. For example, what's the impact this trade agreement will have on the industries or on the workers, laborers? Okay, so this is my I am one of the member of a student organization called Dark Island Nation Youth Front. Okay, there's not such, we don't have a very formal English name. I just translated from directly from the Chinese. Dark Island means this is a black box or a very dark future, or they are all, you know, corrupting. So it's very dark. Our future is very dark, and it's a dark island. And we are. Mostly we focus our members on students because we think the agreement will mostly impact on the young generation, and we don't have the power to decide whether we want it or not. So we call ourselves the Young Front. Okay. So this student organization is the main force to push the movement. Speaking in a students group, and there are other NGOs. They have an alliance called the Democracy Front. Yes, and these two groups are the main force in the beginning of this movement. That's over last year, and in this year, the legislative yuan promised to go item by item, right? But the KMT legislator that broke this promise, it finished the process less in a minute, and actually it's illegal. It's illegal. He just say, okay, now the bill is passed. Go to the floor. We're going to vote. And so this outraged a lot of people because the government is not keeping their promises. So we held a party where speeches and performance took place on 18th March 18th evening. Yeah, and on that evening we planned a attack. We want to go into the legislative yuan and we want to occupy it. We want to paralyze the government's functioning because we want them to know this is a very serious thing. You promise the people, but you fail to do. You fail to review the agreement item by item. So this is the whole movement. We did not expect such a scale. We never thought that we will be so big. We thought we will be evict very quick. Like, okay, we go inside and the police will come and push us away, and then we can go home. No, so so it was out of our imagination. But anyway, we were there, and so people keep coming in and join us. So there were three sections around the legislative yuan. I don't need to go to the rules now. Anyway, you can imagine that it's a square. The legislative yuan is a square, and the three row were all crowded with people, and they all have their stages. They have short speeches and performance, and they talk about why they are going to against the trade agreement, service trade agreement. Yes, and things were pretty. At the first few days, the tension is very high because the police seem to be always ready to evict us. They want to drive us out of the legislative yuan. So that's the situation of the first few days. So by the time some students think we have to put more pressure on the government because the government never never responded with sincerity. So on 23rd March, there were a group of people broke into the executive yuan. It's like the center of the executive power. So there comes thousands of people come in and take over, occupy the executive yuan. And at the very evening, the police, fully armed with shields and sticks, and a couple of water cannon truck, drove in and spray water all over the water stream, all over the protestants. And this is probably ever since the 1980s, the government has never used such a heavy hands upon students and citizens. So it's pretty shocking that it's like we're still living in an era when the martial law is still at work. Yes. Okay, this is pretty much the timeline of the movement. Okay, now I'm going to briefly introduce the main idea and our demand, or why are we against such a service trade agreement. First of all, it's of course because the black box operation is against democracy, as we believe that you should follow the due procedure. You have to inform the people, saying, okay, we are going to sign this agreement with China. China happens to be a very powerful country, which always have a very hostile attitude toward Taiwan. So it's not just an ordinary trade agreement. It's with China. So it has to be dealt with cautious. So first, the whole movement is focused on the black box. We against the black box. We want more monitoring. We want more deliberation. We want the government that the people to they can join the whole process of the signing of the negotiation. We want to know what happened, what is going on between Taiwan and China, what they exchange, trade off, something like that. And another reason that people is against of such trade agreement is that the national security issue, as I just mentioned, China is a country who opposes hostile attitude toward Taiwan. So, and the industries that are included in the service trade agreement, some of them are very. It involves like infrastructure or internet or like database, something like that. So if it is passed, it might severely affect or have an impact on our national security. China may affect our politics or democracy under the table. So this is one issue. And the last one is maybe a lot of you will heard that we are against free trade. Well, it's not the case, because there indeed are a lot of discussion about how the free trade should be like in Taiwan. You know, we are signing a lot of free trade agreement with other countries. We want to join the TPP and we want to join the RCEP. So free trade is actually a topic that had been discussed in Taiwan. That's right, but the discussion is mainly about, okay, Taiwan is a island nation. If we want to survive, we have to trade. We will have to export. We have to import with other countries. So that's not a question. We have to trade, but we want to make sure that the trade negotiation does not sacrifice the minorities. The trade negotiation does not sacrifice the laborers who has no power, or they are already being the bottom of the society. A lot of questions in the service trade agreement are there's no protection for the laborers. There's no protection for human rights. So during the whole movement, a lot of discussion is about we should have more protection for the minorities, for the laborers, and it's not about anti-free trade. No, it's not. We want to. A lot of Taiwanese people want to join TPP, and they want to sign free trade agreement with other countries. But we want to make sure that this does not affect the economic justice, which the benefit of the free trade all goes to the big businessmen or big corporation, and the bottom of, for example, farmers, workers, they all suffer from this process. So this is mainly the three dimensions that you can see in this movement. First is democracy, mainly about the process, the due process, and another is the national security, whether Taiwan's sovereignty will be threatened by China, and the third is the economic justice, whether the minority will be deeply harmed if the agreement is passed. Yes, so this is the main spirit of this agreement. Okay, and I don't. How many time I have used? 5 more minutes. Okay, and if you have other question, you can just ask me after in the end of this activity. I want to emphasize that this is a very big moment for Taiwan's democracy. At that night, at the evening in the executive yuan, I was the commander at that time, because when I go into the executive yuan, it was a chaos all over. There's no organization, no one holding the microphone, no one tell the crowd to do what to do or what not to do. So I was there to make sure everyone is safe. Yeah. So I was standing there and I was holding the microphone, and I tell everyone, we are now witnessing the moment of democracy deepening in Taiwan history. We had this moment back in 1980s, 1990s, and there was paid in a high price. A lot of people went to jail or got hurt or even killed. But right now, at this moment, we don't have to go through all that again. We have a chance to deepen our democracy without any blood. We have the chance to be involved in this important moment. And I want the policemen there, and I want the Ma president to all join us in this historical moment. You know, we have the chance to do this, to deepen our democracy without any violence, without any blood. But sad to say that there is still a violent eviction at that night. But anyway, this is still a very important, and I think we, on some degree, we succeed because we actually push a draft of a law, the law of the cross-strait agreement monitoring. You know, if the law is passed, then from now on, any trade talk, any trade negotiation happen between Taiwan and China could be monitored, and the issue, the controversy like this service trade agreement won't happen again. Hopefully, won't happen again. So this is one big step forward, and this is a very exciting accomplishment that we have made. Another thing I think is very important is we have created, or a generation has been created, just like the 1989 Tiananmen incident, or like in America, there's called a Freedom Summer. I guess there's a book about it, Summer Freedom or Freedom of Summer. Summer of Freedom. Oh yeah. Okay, so this very specific moment, there's a big thing happen that challenges our faith on our democracy, or challenge our faith on our future. But we are not backing off. A lot of people step up and join us, and they say, okay, we can control our own future. No matter what, our future should be in our hands. So you can see a lot of young people, young generation, they emerge in this movement. And I believe in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be the major force of Taiwan's political and social reform. Just like 2008, where there's a student movement called Wild Strawberry, and I am that member of the Wild Strawberry student movement, and I can say Wild Strawberry movement had created a generation of activity, just like me and a lot of students now in the legislative yuan. So to sum up, maybe the most exciting achievement is not whether the law will pass, or it's not whether the service trade agreement will eventually pass. There are a lot of young activists who become aware of the situation, become aware of their they can do a lot of things and not just listen to the government. And there's one sentence that in the movement that really touches me, that people should not be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of the people. That is because you can see now when people stand out to the street to occupy the legislative yuan or executive yuan, or last year we occupied in the Department of Internal Affairs, the government has to listen to us. They cannot just do whatever they want. So I think that's the very value of this so-called sunflower movement. Yeah, and I hope you all understand what I'm saying, because I don't really know what I'm saying. Okay. Okay. So yeah.
Thank you, Weiyan. Very inspirational presentation. And next we'll have Professor Xia Yeliang.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to take the podium, or?
I can just pull it over.
She lost her voice.
Oh, severely ill. Okay.
So we'll have next. Yeah, I think
For the microphone.
yeah, but we don't have a handheld mic.
I am so glad to attend this very excited speech. I know this sunflower movement was so unusual. It's a very unusual student movement in the history, not only in Taiwan but also in the Chinese culture or Chinese history. So these days we have very strong hassle or debates on what is the implication of significance of this student movement. We have a lot of email groups and also WeChat groups talking about this matter. And we have a lot of arguments. Some people, I know some of the people, they came from Taiwan, they have the very strong feelings. And some of them support the Kuomintang. And so they criticize this student movement as a kind of a very bad thing to ruin Taiwan's legal system or the constitutional structure. And one of my best friends, he came from Taiwan, but now he's an American citizen. He shows his very strong against toward this student movement. He said behind this student movement, there's a green part, the green camp. Their goal is to let Taiwan and be an independent country, and so it's kind of division of China. That become two China in the future. So that's his point. He said, if you agree on that Taiwan is a democratic country, that means you have to support the democratic structure. So some people, especially people come from mainland China, we have the different ideas. I think since a democratic country or administration, they have to experience this kind of test, whether it's suitable, whether it's endurable for democratic governance or not. So we have a lot of arguments that harassment hasn't been ended yet. But I believe before I came here, one of my friends asked me to bring a cartoon. I forgot to print it out. It's a cartoon published in New York Times in recent days. It's a Trojan horse. What it means that's you know, the agreement, the trade of the agreement across the streets, just like a Trojan horse. That means behind it will be a communist occupation in the future to Taiwan. So is that be serious? Some people say it's a kind of exaggeration, but it might not be just a kind of exaggeration, or it's kind of a warning. Actually, I'll give the warning in recent days. I think nowadays people say China has been the #2 in economy in the whole world. It means a country that have the 1/4 of population in the world has get out of the poverty. But it's not true. If you know China better, I know some Chinese experts in U.S. They visited a couple of times a year, and they got treatment like honored guests. They got every benefits from the research funding to the luxury hotel and the tours and all those things like that. And they say, oh, they made the great success. So they don't say that it's a communist country. They all say it's a successful economy. But I keep telling people, like, the Cold War hasn't been ended yet. Or you could say the Cold War has returned if you don't pay much more attention to that. And so back to our issue now, I think the students, they made the success. I think they has retreated from the Congress. That means they have the kind of, no, I mean by April 10th, yeah. That means they can control and they can manage this kind of a movement just as they expected and as we expected. So I think that would be a great success. And some people call this movement as a great student movement. Of course, you cannot just simply compare it with the Tiananmen Students' Square or some other movements. I think nothing can be comparable. But itself, I think itself wrote the new history. I won't exaggerate. I mean, it will be something in the history. You will say whether Taiwan will be independent country in the future or not. So, as the Chinese come from mainland China, people will say, oh, we always support the union of the country. Of course, I'd like to have as big as country as it can be. How about half the world? just look back to old maps. If you see 19th century, 18th century, 17th century, at that time we have a much bigger map. But what does it mean? If we were far behind of the world, the modern civilization, that means we are losing not only land, but we are losing our culture, our competence, even the basic principles of human beings. So that'd be very, very sad. Nowadays, we keep seeing that Taiwan is the only place that keeps the original culture of Chinese history so well. So fortunately, it's not occupied by the Communist Party. Otherwise, even this old culture or the language would be ruined. So I'm not the person to say I support the independence of Taiwan, but I would not say I will go against it. I can't be the both, right? But I mean, the history was not written by some people's wills. I mean, it just as like it goes. Whatever it goes, it must be there some reasons. So how can you say the two Germanys is bad? Now it's one Germany is even better. Of course, when people decide they want to become a one Germany, it would be good. Yeah. How about North Korea and South Korea? So I won't say this. Well, what I mean is you can say that way definitely. It all depends. I would say in future, if China can become a democratic, constitutional democracy with the rule of law, then by that time, as more and more people, more countries would be willing to join. Maybe that's called the Federation of China, or maybe the Federal Republic of China in the future. So who knows? At that time, maybe some Asian countries, they would like to be the member of the Federation, just like the Commonwealth, the member like New Zealand, Australia, Canada, to the British Commonwealth. So I don't care much about the territory ideas. What I mean is the people, whether the people can get the freedom, whether people get the real benefits, whether people can live as they like. So that's more important concepts rather than just the simple ideas of the country, of the territory, and so on and so forth. So I don't take that much time since time is very limited. So I appreciate the students' movement, and I will support it. And I would like to say some you have some more discussion and consideration on the future of Taiwan, and also keep your mind on the mainland China's future, not only for Taiwan. I know some people, young students say, oh, we are another country. We don't care much about mainland China. So I don't agree on that. So I hope the students across the streets can work together in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Xia. And next we'll have Dr. Yang.
First of all, I want to show my respect to a student from Taiwan. They did extraordinary work to build a democracy, to improve the democracy in Taiwan. And my salute to you. Okay. And I think what they do, what they did was to show the citizen power of Taiwan. Taiwan, of course, we know there is democracy, but sometimes democracy may not work. So when it comes to the issue of the across the street service trade pact, we saw clearly that both the executive branch and the legislative branch, neither works in the way that the people want it. So the students come out to show the citizen power. The citizen power make a alternative for the government system itself. And I believe this student movement has brought Taiwan's democracy to another level, which is very important. It's important primarily for the people in Taiwan. It's also important for the people in mainland China, And I visit Taiwan very often. I go to Taiwan at least once a year, sometimes 3 times a year. And I engaged with students very much, and oftentimes I was invited to give a talk at various universities. And of course, they want to hear me talk about the situation in China, the human rights situation particularly, and my personal experience, the struggle by people like myself for democracy, for the freedom that the students in Taiwan are enjoying. After my talk, I always hear students ask me what we can do for you, what we can do to help. My answer is the best thing you can do to help us to make sure Taiwan's democracy works well. Do everything possible to fulfill your citizen duty, to improve the democracy in Taiwan, so that we have confidence that we are on the right track. You know, the thing we are doing is the right thing to do. So that's my answer. So today, I still believe what I said. And on the surface, this student movement in Taiwan, the Sunflower student movement, was triggered by the pact, by the Service Trade Pact. But deeply, if we see the deep root of the root of cause, as far as I can see, it was driven by long-time concern on the part of the people in Taiwan about the ever-increasing political influence from China and the imminent absorption, so-called, of Taiwan by China. And national security, as Mr. Wei has just mentioned. And when I go to Taiwan more often, I meet with all kinds of people, and a lot of people, ordinary people on the street, I run into taxi drivers, for example. They would say, "Oh, nowadays Taiwan, you know, the officials are more like officials in China, and the business people are more like business people in China, and the media people are more like media people in China." So you can see the influence in Taiwan. And so this worry is valid and well-founded. This fear is well-founded. So I can understand very clearly why the students come out to represent the voice of the people, and actually did a wonderful job to check the increasing leanward toward mainland policy. I think they did extraordinary work. And what I want to say, actually, is the message of the student movement, not to Ma Yongjie. Ma Yongjie already heard this message directly. When I say message, I mean the message these students send to China, to the Chinese people, to the leaders of China. And this morning, I was on VO TV show talking about this topic. I received a lot of phone calls from listeners and watchers in China, observers in China. They provide different views on this student movement, which is understandable. But the message to the Chinese government is very clear. I don't know whether the government understands it or not, but the message is very clear. The message is that we don't want to get any closer with you. Very simple. We don't want to talk about proposals so big or federation or whatever. And we don't just want to get closer with you because you have all kinds of problems. You have a fundamental problem that will influence, will affect our life here. It's already affect our life here. We don't want to get any closer. And we don't want to get closer because we don't trust you. We don't trust you because you have a fundamental problem with your political system. The way you treat your own people, the way you handle the business, the way even you treat the business people from Taiwan make us not trust you. So we don't want to get closer. That's the message. I don't know whether they understand it. Okay, another message. I hope the Chinese government can understand it by now. That is, the united front policy of unification through trade has reached its limit. It's reached its limit. They often talk about how to attract the heart of people of Taiwan. They cannot do it anymore. Cannot do it further. To attract the heart of the people of Taiwan through trade, give you some benefit. So they have to think something else. So I'm very interested to see what it is, what will be. I think they understand they have to reach the limit through the trade to move toward unification. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm interested to see. I think everybody else here is interested to see as well. Thank you. I'm waiting for your questions.
Before we open the floor for Q&A, we'll let our main speakers respond to our discussion for a few minutes, and then we'll have at least 30 minutes for question and answer with the audience.
Thank you for your presentation. It's very helpful and inspiring. I like the topic of the whole China and Taiwan relationship, and I intend to focus on that now. Is China an independent country, or is that an issue now? It is definitely an issue in Taiwan, but I want to say, as a fact, that we have our own country boundary, we have our election, and we have our system of politics and economy. Taiwan is definitely a country as a fact. But I want to say that this is not, there's some country with a definite definition of country, with boundaries, with population, with their own sovereignty, election. But these countries, sometimes they are extremely dependent on their neighbors, big powerful countries. So they cannot decide their own fate. But some political entity, they did not fit the definition of country, but they have a strong will to decide their own future. So, in my opinion, Taiwan might not meet some of the definition of the country, as they always say, you have to be accepted by the international politics or something like that. But we have a strong will to maintain, to control to decide our own future. And we will not allow other forces to intervene. So in this sense, I think Taiwan is a country aspect that we define ourselves as a country. So the problem should be, why won't others think so? And I think that's responsibility that, for example, America could help that to push the recognition of our situation in the over the world. Yeah. So I think it's a very interesting issue, and the relation between Taiwan and China it's more interesting. That China, and I believe that we should pour more attention to China, because back in the early time in Taiwan, we kind of like lock us down, lock us up from mainland China. We don't want to. I should put it this way: we imagine the China that is not actually that's not actually there, and we refuse to know about the reality of China. We refuse to know the reality. We dream a China that only exists on the history textbook. And I think we have to go past that. We have to face the reality. We have to face the relationship between two countries. So that means we have to pay attention to China's human rights, to pay attention to the possibility of democratization of China. We have to help the process of democratization of China. So I agree with that. Actually, a lot of students are now studying Chinese issues. We, in our own department in Tsinghua, we have a graduate department called China Study. Yeah, we study about China, and we want to help China through understanding, understanding the problems that China faces, or the problems that China plays on Taiwan. So I think this is the right direction, that we get closer. But the closer has the condition, or has the it's not like we get unified, but we are getting closer because we all pursue the same goal, that is democratization. I think that's the way to go. And all this has been widely discussed ever since the last year anti-media monopoly movement, if you have ever heard it. There's a term called China factor. China factor. That means how China affect Taiwan's democracy, affect Taiwan's economy through various means. For example, through the trade agreement, or through the economic cooperation, something like that, or even through the under-table manipulation. And this is funny because when it comes to China factor, for example, when we talk about China factor, this time in Sunflower Movement, and we argue that the national security is a very big concern when it comes to the service trade agreement. The government always say, well, economy is economy, politics is politics, but no, that's not the case, because if you understand the relationship between Taiwan and China, you will understand economic is politics, and politics sometimes exist in the form of economic activity, just like this cross-strait service trade agreement. To be short, China factor means that through all these economic means, like trade, or Taiwan businessmen open business in China, or China businessmen invest in Taiwan industry, it's not just economic. It's not just about economics. It's not just about making money. It's not just about getting rich. It's also about the ultimate goal, maybe, for the unify of China. This is the reality that we have to face, and I think Taiwan government, Ma administration, very well understand that, but it decide not to talk about it, because not to talk about it means the people won't aware of it, and the people not aware of it means their control, their regime will not be challenged. Their lies or their fantasies that they made will be will not be will stay as fantasy, and the reality won't be realized. So I think study China factor and maybe help China gain their democracy, and helping China gain their freedom is what we can do, is what we as a Taiwanese young generation can do, because in that way, through helping China becoming more democratic, we can help ourselves to live in to not live in fear anymore. Yeah, you know, they always say to make a friend is better than making an enemy. So of course we hope, and we sincerely hope, that China and Taiwan can have an opportunity to build the friendship. And from now on, because as you say, the China will have to they have to treat this student movement very seriously. This is not just some domestic riot. This is a historical moment for both Taiwanese and Chinese people. Yeah, this is an opportunity that we can all go further on the way of democratization. Yeah, this is what I can respond to both of your commentary. Thank you.
Professor Xia has another engagement at 7 o'clock, so he's going to leave. If you don't mind sort of standing on the side, there's some space in the front. So those of you, by the door, please feel free to squeeze it. Oh, yeah. Or, you can sit. Yeah. You can bring the chair out. So please just come in. Don't be shy. All right. Well, we have half an hour for a Q&A. Please raise your hand and identify yourself, and keep your comment or question brief. And I think we'll collect a couple and have our panelists respond. So the gentleman in the black coat.
Okay. My name is Yan from Computer Science, and I have a question for Mr. Wei. And as we know, during the active recalling the congressman as being called language.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And I know the KMT is controlling the majority of the Congress, and now a lot of versions of post-trade agreement monitoring mechanism are now reviewed in the Congress. And what if the activity failed and the version of the executive yuan is passed? So what is your next thing?
Okay, we'll take more questions. There's a hand in the back. The lady, Diamond.
Yes, my name is Diamond Liu. I'm a long-time activist. I'm going to ask an embarrassing question. Have you thought, this is a question for both. Have you thought about how to make a contribution to your movement, to Yang Jianli, how to claim your victory and move on to the next goal?
Okay, we'll take one more question, gentleman.
The follow-up question on his is that there are actually a lot of other different projects going on, not just the pandemic, but also the zero-time government. They have real-time tracking about political contribution, and there are also a lot of different other movements. But do you think we should make some sort of non-for-profit organization to give these different kinds of projects a sustained support so that they can continue to be at work beyond this movement, so that we can actually deepen our democracy, not just for this specific trade agreement, but for the long run of how our representative democracy is being run?
And could you identify yourself?
I'm University of Maryland, Chen Zixi.
Okay, so I think all three of these questions are asking about the next steps of the student movement. So we'll let Weiyang and Yu-fen respond, and we'll take the next round. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So I can like answer 3 questions at the same time. That's good. Yeah, there are activities to recall the legislator since we want them out of their position now. We don't trust them anymore. They want to elect a new one. Okay. So that's called 割阑尾 because they are blue legislators. And like blue legislator in Chinese means 阑尾. I mean that's that's not important. Anyway, and there are also what you say is GDV is formed by a group of engineer or scientists. They help the people, our people, not have a better understanding of what the government is doing. For example, the budgets and how the money is spending, something like that. Yeah, and I think this is very important, and because back in when I first participated in social movement in 2008, there is no such thing, and we cannot even imagine it, because we only know we can elect the legislator, but we never know how to pull them down, and we don't even dare thinking of it. But in this year, with the first time of our history, we try to pull down the legislator who insist on building the non-nuclear plant and ignoring the major popularity. So that's the first try. And now this time, after some flower movement, all over Taiwan, every city, every district, there are people who try to pull down the legislator who doesn't do their job well, or who ignore the people's will, or who just deliver the KMT parties well. Yeah, we are doing that. And also, NPOs like GDV are very new during these past few years. And I think it can help more Taiwanese to get involved in social movement, because social movement is not just about going to the street, or it's not just about have physical exercise, physical actions, on the street. It's not just about occupation. It's more about the grassroots or the local organization. It's about self-empowerment. Yeah, through the GDV's project, everyone can be a activist. We can monitoring the government. So I think this is the right way to go. And as for me and many of the student movement activists in Taiwan, the next step will be go back to their college, go back to their hometown, and establish organizations that work on issues have something to do with democracy, Taiwan democracy deepening. So I think to answer the question is, yes, it's going on the right track, that more and more Taiwanese people becoming a social movement activist, and in a broad sense, not just activists on the street and building slogans, something like that. And how to meet a conclusion of this movement? First of all, we have met the leader of the legislative yuan, Wang Jinping, made a commitment that before there will be no negotiation, there will be no bipartisan negotiation about the trade agreement before the monetary law is passed. Of course, we have to make a decision whether we are going to believe him or not. But that's the decision have to be made, because otherwise we have to occupying the legislative until the law is passed. But that's not going to happen, because in that case the law will have no place to be voted or to be reviewed. So yeah, the first achievement we think is the commitment that the law will be passed, and we will keep monitoring if the leader of the legislative yuan will keep his promise. Another achievement is that we have created a lot of activities, just like I said. So this might not be a very concrete achievement that you can see, you can identify, but that is truly as far as I'm concerned, it is to truly succeed in this movement, that people are becoming aware of our own right. And to answer the question that whether we should give the substantive support to the NPOs, I think that is of course true, because we should know during the sunflower movement, a lot of NGO is facing the crisis of bankrupt. That they have spent like millions of dollars, but they are non-profit. So it's all like we have to get money from our own pocket and to use on the movement, and without any return, without expecting any return. So NGOs, NPOs are the very important forces during the movement, and I think we should give them the support that they deserve, and that it is also helping the movement go further, because we have the power and strength to do more things, not just on the street, but also through local grassroots organization project, and also needs some resources. So the trip for us to America is also call to the American Taiwanese people that we can all contribute to the movement in any sense, donation, or just to speak out, or held your own conference or something like that. It all helps. Yeah.
The lady by the wall. We'll collect a couple more questions. So briefly, the organization of Asian Studies is a student organization here at GW, and we're the sponsoring organization of this event. Comprised of students who are majoring in Asian Studies or interested in studying Asia here at this university.
Okay. First, what's the alternative for the free trade or economic trade side with China? That means if we are not going to have the free trade or have any economic ties with China, then what's the other option? Well, first of all, I won't say that we don't develop any economic ties with China. We have to, and we have been developing economic ties, and I don't see that the economic ties or connection can be like just quick slides and become not related. But we have to ask that can we, if the trade with China is inevitable, we have to do that. Then can we make it better? That means first of all, speak of the procedures that how to negotiate the monitoring mechanism. That this kind of stuff have to be established. When that's established, then I think both Taiwan and China can have the trade deal more efficiently, and it won't cause so much controversy. And another thing is that we have to deal with the over dependent on the China economy, because over these years we can see that Taiwan has depended on China's economy too much, and that will come to the point I just said, that maybe will affect the security of our own nation or the security of our sovereignty. Yeah, you will. But I think this requires the both sides of Taiwan and China to find a way. So that means we still have to help China's democratization. What I'm trying to say is, this might be a very idealism thought, but what I'm thinking is maybe Taiwan and China, we can have a very close economic relationship, and we have all this trade going on. But the industries and the laborers, the students on both countries won't be harmed. So just like now, because now the trade is made without a monitoring system. So the content may be bad for people and good for the business. We have to change that. So if that is the way we want it to be, then that is the way we have to be working on. That to make sure the free trade with China is truly good for people. So I think that will be the alternative, and that requires both sides of the trade to work on. And about the if our trip is found by FAPA, yeah, and they help our to schedule the whole trip and found the expenses that this trip. But I won't say that means the movement is agreed. I mean, what I'm saying is they found this trip does not mean that Sunflower Movement and the FAPA are, how to say, working together, like the whole movement is with FAPA's Taiwanese independence goal, something like that. Many of our student movement colleagues or activists, truly they are pro-Taiwanese independence, but not all of them. And the movement never say Taiwan wants independence. The movement only stress that we have to make sure that we won't be further invaded or our national security won't be threatened. So that is the common issue for all the participants. Yeah, the Taiwan independence is one of them. So I hope that's answer your question. And the question that the bottom-up pressure is so organic that how to make a balance that we want the organic movement from bottom up, but we also want them to be disciplined, and we want them to we don't want them to be riot or something. Yeah, let me put it this way. That is actually a very difficult question because you can see in the movement, a lot of people will criticize on the order because the student activities will ask the people to obey the rules. They have to go in certain direction, and they have to make way for the emergency passage. And this is not usual in the social movement back in Taiwan because back in Taiwan the social movement they are not so like disciplined. They are in Taiwanese we call it 就穷州 which means
rush forward.
Yeah, rush forward. Yes, so a lot of people or students they think, well, this doesn't work. We are such a we are too good. We are good like good kids. The government won't be afraid of us. We have to show them our strength. We have to make them fear. Yeah, of course that's the case. So you see, we occupied legislative yuan and the executive yuan. This is definitely not good kids, right? But after all, the movement have to be in certain order. That is for the safety of all participants, and also because a lot of media they have this emphasize. They look very closely to whatever students do. So if you are out of control, they just give you this label, say you are a riot, you are not reason. Yeah. So this is a very hard balance to make. That one way we have to achieve our goal, and this requires some rush forward activities. And another way we have to maintain good publicity. We have to look good on the media, and we have to protect all the participants stay home. No blood as possible. So yeah, it's difficult, but after all, we maintain, and I think we did well this time. Okay, so and let's question the divisions, and of course that happens because everybody has different thoughts. Some think, just like I say, some of them think this does not work, this won't work. We have to be more aggressive, and they are very disappointed about the decision making of the student movement activities. I think that's a price we have to bear because to reach a very specific goal, we have to be a united front. That means some of the, of course, through democratic discussion, everybody participated in the debate, in the discussion. But after all, it's just certain route of the movement have to be we have to go certain route of the movement, and some people will be very disappointed, just like when the news come out that we are going out of the parliament this evening. A lot of people are disappointed and they feel betrayed or something. I think this is the price of the bear, and this is a movement we have to, all of the students and the activists have to heal when the movement is over, or should I say this one over, because to heal this wound, to repair all the divisions is itself a movement. Yeah, I think I can say.
Okay, we'll take 3 more questions, and then we'll have to wrap it up. The woman on the side over here. You identify yourself?
I'm a school teacher, and I'm a graduate student, and I'm from Mainland China actually, so I'm really interested in the topic today. I really adore and admire that students in Taiwan have found to have social movement, because Mainland China is right. And sorry? Okay. Yeah, Mainland China we don't have to count for that. Even the people who make the social movements, they lost lives. If you see the news recently, they want to battle against the PX program. It's not about whether the PX program is harmful or not. It's about whether we have the right to that. So I have a question for Mr. Yang. Right? You attended this series meeting in 1989. So I want to know what's the future of China. What is the future of a students who can create? Because I went to exchange for 1 semester in Taiwan, and students from mainland China, they tell the students in Taiwan, they said, well, why do you say Taiwan is a country? Why do you say that there are like 2 Chinas in the world? You are not right, because our politics teach us to believe that Taiwan is part of China. But it's totally different in Taiwan. The students in Taiwan think, well, we are totally 2 different countries, or we are totally different systems because of politics. So I can understand that if everyone looks back to the history of Taiwan and China, in the 1945 history, we can understand why people will act like that, and why people now will think like that. So I want to know the future. I mean, how many years again? Like 10 years?
So question about the future. Other questions? Woman in the pink, in the back. Actually got you're sitting against the wall.
Good question. So the study asked those that did not basically talk about the desires for open market, that did not discuss South Asia and what is around. And we also talked about New Year's problems. So the two people what the past years how to on the country and at the end of this conference is going to express the useful articles from this one rest and last and one where the economists talk about the negative impact of oxide on the income. But the previous where we have the ones that express here in the way this is relative. They're now concerns other countries that goes around anyone who's out there that says we hope Taiwan is more concerned because again from use any kind of spillover effect along
Other questions? Gentleman in the far back.
Yes. Hi, my name is Gina Verhardt. I'm the Home I've studied abroad in China and Taiwan. My question is whether you're concerned that if the images of students occupying the legislative forum may be used by the communist media to do Taiwanese forum, and whether in the long run you may be also generating more ill will in whether you think it will protect Taiwan's national security.
And doing most of 这个要反民主宣传。
What about Dr. Yang respond first?
Oh, that's a good question.
What about the future, sir?
Okay. So I often say there are three most difficult jobs in this world. One, build peace in Middle East. Number two, democratize China. Number three, lose weight. A lot of people focus on the leadership, see how they will go about business, to discern the nuances in the behavior, how to go about politics, from which we can say, oh, China will take this way or that way, try to figure out the direction. But our focus is on citizen power. Why I keep saying citizen power? We know in China, first of all, if you want ask me a suggestion, first thing I think you should do is to become an independent person. So we grew up in China. We know we grew up being brainwashed. It's manage or control false information. When it comes to Taiwan, if you don't come to this country, if you don't go to Taiwan, start there, you have very manipulated information about Taiwan. So first of all, you have to shake off this thing to become an independent person first. And I don't have a predetermined position about whether Taiwan will be part of China or not. So don't worry about that. I think that should let the next generation, your next generation. So, but first, I think you have to be an independent person to begin with. And in China, we know, we see the regime is trying to do everything to resist the process of democratization in China. And our hope, of course, we want, and we hope the leadership will rethink the whole situation, to realize their historical role to change China. But we don't count on it. So we try to mobilize people on the ground to empower themselves. We know there's a lot of protests in China every day. Every 3 or 5 minutes there is another one. So in 1 year there's 200,000 protests all over China. The problem is the regime has been successful in the guiding. So now we try to bring everybody together to come up with a viable democratic opposition demanding for overall change. How long will it take? I don't know. And as far as can see, the movement will have a milestone sign that we are become viable. Number one, the movement can represent people. So people trust the movement. Just like the sunflower seed movement, we enjoy trust from the general public. Number two, there is a robust general discontent with the status quo. I think we don't lack that in China. And number three, the movement should have a group leaders who can represent people, represent the voice, and able to mobilize the international attention and support. And most importantly, they can engage in a negotiation with the state when the time comes. So now that's something we really, really lack. So we do everything possible to bring people together through the citizen movement maybe the group of leaders will be produced. If you look at the conditions I just talked about, and look back at sunflower movement, we have everything. We have everything I just said. So robust general discontent with the magnitude the government, and student represent the voice. The leaders of the group cannot mobilize international attention and so forth. And we can negotiate with the state effectively. So that's why we're successful. So we are working so hard to produce such a group of people. So that's what we do. I don't know how long we will, reach that point. But to me, so we have to work every day for that to go. We often talk about the last straw on the camel's back. Nobody knows where the last straw is, right? If you know, then you know, okay? And I think we can find it only in search for it. We search for it by doing the work we do every day. So that's my philosophy. And when it comes to the issue of independence or unification, I used to believe in federation. Now I don't have any predetermined position on this. All we can do is to preserve Taiwan's democracy as much as we can, improve it as much as we can. At the same time, so do everything possible to democratize China, which of course is one of the most difficult, three most difficult jobs. And whether they will come together or continue to be two nations, two countries, that is generation to decide. Thank you.
Okay, so I will be answering the two questions. First of all, about the President Ma this morning say about the education that maybe Taiwanese people need to know more about the trade agreement. Yu-fen has something I wanted to say for her, that when speaking of education, we really don't understand what does President Ma mean about education, because we grow up in a democratic society which is earned with a lot of effort. It's not easily earned. When we go out to the street and demonstrate for the protection of human rights, I think it is President Ma who needs to start learning, start to be educated. What is democracy all about? Yeah, this is. I'm the representative of her now, and as my opinion is pretty much the same. I think this movement itself it is a place of education. A lot of people who at first didn't know anything about the service trade agreement, and that is exactly the question. It is exactly the problem, because we are not told anything about it. And we learn that on the street. We learn that in the legislative yuan. We learn that in this movement. So now a lot of Taiwanese people, they are talking about whether or not we should sign it, or how should we sign it, or how should we develop the free trade agreement with China. So we have started to discuss about this, and this is exactly the education that President Ma is talking about. So I think we are good. He does not have to worry about it. Thank you for his concern. And about the another question, that whether or not the occupation will have the negative effect for the Taiwan to sign FTA with other countries. First of all, I think it's very sad that this is the problem that student has to solve, because I think that is exactly the problem the government have to face, or they have to solve when they negotiate with other countries, because you cannot expect the people to be so docile, to be obedient. You cannot expect people to just accept whatever you offer. You have to accept and expect that people have other opinions. People will disagree, or those people who they are severely impacted will express their concern. It's not just in Taiwan. For example, if we sign this free trade, this service trade agreement with China, I can believe that in China there will be a lot of industry who will be impacted. They will be angry, and there will be a lot of laborers in their job will be in danger. So the government, it is the government who have to answer, or who have to figure out a way to solve this problem. They have to assure people that we will do right, we will not harm you, we will not put you in danger. We will come up with actual solutions. For example, like pass some laws that protect the labor's right, or we will make better the system. But no, none of these have been done by the government, and now they say, well, the responsibility is on you, it's on student. You have to be responsible if no country wants to sign FTA with us. But no, that's your job. You have to communicate with people inside your country, and then you have to communicate the government and the people in other country. When everyone when everyone thinks that is really good for them, then this FTA will be signed. If not, then this is FTA that only benefits certain people and harm both countries' people. So I think the question should be thrown back to the government. And of course, we are thinking solution now that we have to be the citizen all involved in this deliberation. We all participate in come up with the plan that what is the best trade agreement can be. So we are doing our job, and I hope the President Ma do his job. Yes. And about our image of this movement, whether or not will be used by the Chinese government as a anti-democracy.
We already.
Actually, I think this is a question that no matter what we do, even we just protest, peacefully demonstrate on the street, it will be. I mean, the decision is on their hands, so we cannot decide it. The one thing we can do is like this occasion, we fit Chinese student and Taiwanese student, or Chinese people and the Taiwanese people face to face. We communicate our thoughts and we discuss this movement. And if you have any question that you don't understand, if you want to clarify some rumor, just ask the student activities in front of you. And we clarify these things, and you can go back to your country and through your fellowship say, well, it's not like what the party told us. It was a totally different story. I think face to face, this is exactly what we're talking about. That Chinese and Taiwan should establish a more close bond, in the sense of peoples get to know each other, and we have to understand their situations, and not just believe what the government tells us. Yeah, we have to see the reality by ourselves, and I think that's the way to solve the problem.
Thank you. We're already running over time and into your dinner time, so we'll have our panelists briefly conclude, 1 minute each, and we thank them very much for their time today. So Dr. Yang, would you like to start?
Okay. So I think that lady just asked a very important question. What is our alternative if you don't have a trade service trade with China? I think this movement provides very good opportunity for the politicians of both parties and the society as a whole to discuss this question. As far as I can see, Taiwan is a small island, a small country. By conventional wisdom, it must have open policy in economics. That means open to all the countries. Just because of China factor, it cannot do it. It cannot be as open as Singapore is, for example. So that's the serious question. January, I went to Taiwan to talk about economic issues with Wang Jianli and a few other legislators. So we don't see as much Taiwan presence in the international community as it used to be 30 or 25, 30 years ago. And there's no Taiwan brand, no Taiwan singer presence in the international community, no athlete, just very little Taiwan presence, and a lot fewer students on American campus as well. So that's a serious problem. Why? Because all people Taiwan all move to the business from international market to China's market, because there's a language relatively low cost or things like that. But now we found this kind of relationship will harm Taiwan's long-term future. So what should we do? So I think this is the question we should discuss, and this is a very good opportunity for Taiwan to think this question and come up with the alternative.
Okay. First of all, I want to quote. If anyone knows Deng Nanrong, that he was a democracy hero who fought to death for Taiwan's freedom. And he has been saying that we are a small country with few people, but we are a good country with beautiful people. Now that's just my translation, so anyway. But the main point is, yeah, we are a small island country, we're a small island nation, and we don't have much people, and we have to accept the fact that open policy might be the way we have to deal with. But we are a good country, and we are beautiful people. That means we have to protect these beautiful people. We cannot put them in harm. So, during this movement, during this service trade agreement, I think we have to see that our true value, the true value of our country is the democracy that we earn. We cannot just lose it, and we cannot lose it in the name of economy benefit or economic development. But they have to be reached at the same time. And and Taiwanese people is not just like against any trade negotiation. What we insist are transparency of the trade talk and the due process of the legislation and deliberation, the comprehensive impact assessment and the consideration and the inclusion of the opinion of the minorities, the worker, and the young generation. So this is the principle that we have to, that in this movement we can see this is the principle, that doesn't matter that what country we are making trade deal with, we have to make sure that our democracy will not be put in harm, and all the Taiwanese people's benefit will be considered. No one will be sacrificed just for few people's profit. That is justice. That is economic justice, and also generation justice. And I think Sunflower movement has very well demonstrated that how can we do to achieve all that principle. This is my okay, and again the opinion from Yu-fen. I'm truly sorry my throat ached too bad. I cannot speak. I don't have voice. And this is the turning point of Taiwan's society, democracy deepening. This is a really okay. I regret that. This is a turning point of the re-democratization of Taiwan society. This is the first step that Taiwanese young people, Taiwanese young generation start to speak out for themselves. And even you are overseas, you are Taiwanese young people in the United States, you can find your own way to participate in this movement. You can find your own way to participate in the search of Taiwan's democracy. I think that's correct. Okay. And I will we will give you our email address, and if you have any further question that you cannot to ask here, you can send an email to us. Okay.
We'll put up a.
Okay.
We'll write it.
Okay. 这个还是我来。你开一个文件档，然后我是Okay.
again, if my expression or my language cause any trouble understanding, I apologize. And if you can speak Chinese, we can do that afterward. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause for Weiyan, who's joining us after you have to get an email because I tried to add Weiyan as a friend on Facebook. He's full. You can't add him as a friend anymore. You can only follow him. So you want to get his email.
Mine and.
Okay. Once I'm just gonna finish this and okay. So the feed, I think I was in one of those feeds.